How's it going? I wanted to do a video to kind of explain my point of view on spiritual practices like meditation, uh, and what to me spirituality really is, and why I'm even doing any of this. Okay, so I was raised in a very staunch Christian household, and it was actually the LDS Church, Mormonism. And my entire life I was raised to believe that I was in the one and only true church on the face of the earth. And for a long time I believed it. Since we were kids, it was almost kind of like we were literally raised to have the mindset that we knew that the church was true, even though we had never actually had any proof or verifiable evidence in doing so, but just, repeatedly saying, I know that your church is true, throughout our entire childhood, all the way up to our early adulthood, really instilled in the mind. It was actually a form of, in my opinion, brainwashing, or maybe not as harsh as brainwashing, but maybe a mild form of unintended autosuggestion that they would have, everybody say. Whenever you got up to bear your testimony, it was expected that you say, I know the church is true, I know that Joseph Smith was a prophet of God, etc. So, I never really actually had a testimony that the church was true. I just believed that it was because I had said it so many times. And, when I began to more or less think for myself, or really critically analyze the church, I had a lot of questions, and it got to the point to where a lot of the church authorities would get after me for asking so many questions, I don't need to give any examples, but I started to ask tough questions that they couldn't answer, and I got in trouble for basically thinking outside of the box. Then there came a point to where I just decided that I needed to know if the physical world is all that there really is, or if there actually is something legitimate to the spiritual realities. So I started looking into a lot of the psi research, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but like what Rupert Sheldrake and the that Duke University Research Center that researches spiritual and psych phenomena. And as it turns out, there appears to be a statistically significant indication that there may be something other than just this physical world. They've done a lot of double-sided or double-blind studies that have, when you actually look through the research, they set it up very well. In fact, they're more strict with the research that they do versus normal research because of the sketchy, thin ice kind of area that the research involves is the spiritual, the unprovable, the mystical. So they're very, very careful with how they conduct the research, and as it turns out, there's actually a fairly acceptable statistic significance to the studies. So I began to look into meditation, look into is there a way I can find out? Is there something that I can do to try to figure this stuff out? What is astral projection? Can I figure out how to do this for myself? Excuse me. So I began to look for teachers, look for instructors, get books, read up on the subject, and it got to the point where I began to actually have some of these experiences for myself. So here's where I am right now. I know that a lot of this phenomena actually exists, like astral projection. For sure, it exists. The phenomena itself. I've quote unquote been out of my body several times. I've had that experience. The part where I'm stuck at right now is all in my mind, or is it actually happening? When you're sitting there meditating, and all of a sudden, you feel yourself rising, and you look back, and you're leaving your body, and there's no conscious segmentation or fault between your meditation to actual exit. It's an intriguing sensation. You get up, you fly through your wall, you're completely conscious, you go have an adventure, and it's all there. Well, what I would like to do now is to actually start setting up tests to where I can verify it. And in fact, in Franz Barden's Initiation into Hermetics, he actually recommends this. He recommends setting out face cards facing away from you that you don't know what they are, sticking them in the window, or sticking them face up on the top of shelves, that kind of a thing. And when you get out of your body, go check them, come back, and verify that that's actually the card. Now, I haven't become so good and versed with astral projection that I can just do it. It takes some time, and I haven't had a lot of time lately, so it's very difficult for me to get to a point where I can, actually start setting up tests. However, that's the goal. So even though I've got a lot of these meditation videos up, and I've got a lot of this stuff going, for me, I'm not going to go out there and say, hey, I've got the answer, guys. I know that all this stuff is real, and I'm not going to do that like I see other people do. I'll be honest and truthful, I don't have all the answers, but that's why I'm doing this, is so I can begin to actually start experimenting and doing valid experiments, so I can either absolutely verify that that is what's going on, or continue to wonder. So that's where I'm at. That being the case, I have unfortunately come into several situations where I have had instructors or teachers, or people that I've worked with, or people that I've talked to, that have had these fantastic, enormous claims, but when it comes down to it, they can't furnish any proof. And from my point of view, if I'm going to go out and purchase a product, or adhere myself to somebody else's system who purportedly has the way, I'm going to want to know that it actually works. So I'm not going to, I did previously blindly go out and just pick up whatever there was, read everything, try every little system or whatever. But that's not how it is anymore with me. I need verification. In fact, 2 recent events have happened where there have been some people, one was a YouTube video where they promised, certain techniques or whatever, and another one was just a website where they were, toting astral projection, astral projection techniques. And I simply wrote them an email, and I said, look, I've been studying this stuff forever, these are my goals, this is my intention. If I'm going to consider purchasing your product, I'm going to need to know that it's a valid product. So would there be any way we could set up some sort of validation, or some other way that I can know for sure that your product is actually going to do what you claim it does? And oddly enough, I haven't heard back from either one of them. So it's kind of funny. The one guy said in his video, well, you need to prove to me that you're worth your salt and you're worth actually teaching. And in my email I was like, well, you need to prove to me that you're actually worth listening to. I'm open, I'm legit, I'm a true seeker. I do the work, I'm out there, I do the meditations, I read all the books, I practice the practices because I want to know. But if I'm going to even entertain the idea of taking you up on your offer and your course, I'm going to need to know that you're a legitimate teacher and that you're not a fraud. Because how easy is it to set up fraud like that? Way easy. All you have to do is make a claim, put together some weird little system with strange little, techniques and exercises, and there you go. You can fraud out, and nobody would ever know. If the system doesn't work for them, just be like, sorry, it just doesn't work for some people. You know what I mean? It's just easy to fraud out. So that's where I am. And that's where you need to know where I am, because as I'm making these videos, I'm not purporting to be all-knowing, or know that there's another side, or know that this is how things really are. I'm telling you, I'm doing the research, I'm doing the work, I'm doing the studying, I'm trying out all the exercises, and the stuff that I find works is the stuff that I'm going to put out there on video. And so I'm not charging anything either. I'm doing it because I think it's fascinating, and I want other people to be fascinated by it, and maybe even get a little community together where we can ping ideas off each other, trade exercises or secrets or whatever. I think it's a fascinating prospect, and I think it's really intriguing. And I think if there is a spiritual reality superseding this physical reality, that it is possible to come to a full knowledge of that via experimentation, and proper experimentation. So that's kind of what this video was about. I just wanted to get that out there and let everybody know that's been following these videos that that's what this is all about for me. And I want people to know that you don't have to just go out there and trust whoever with whatever system. There are other things you can do, there are videos you can watch, there are things you can try, there are ways to try and validate for yourself the possibility of a second reality. So that's that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.